Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and I got for you a neat review for today. This is the leading RC109F FPV flyer. If you notice, here's its camera down here. It's a swivelable camera. It is 5.8 gigahertz FPV. It's a monster-sized quadcopter, well over the 0.55 pound weight. You're going to need to register this one with the FAA, folks. It has a range of 100 meters. Again, 5.8 gigahertz. It has headless mode, one key return. You can turn the lights on and off. You can record with the camera. You can flip with it, just as with all other quadcopters, except this one's a big one. There is future implementation planned for this to, notice how this camera swivels up and down. They are planning to put servos in this camera, so you can swivel it up and down and also right and left in a future implementation. They have the plugs already here for it. Other than that, there is another also planned implementation of this where they're including altitude hold. Now this one does not have altitude hold. You have to control the altitude yourself, this version here, but that is coming in the future with this particular quadcopter. So overall, it's a big heavy quadcopter. I'm sure it looks like it has a hell of a lot of lifting power, similar to the Syma X8C, except this one is 5.8 gigahertz FPV. Syma has yet to come out with a 5.8 gigahertz FPV version of the X8C. So if you're looking for something about the size of an X8C, this is one of your options. Let's go right into the transmitter real quick. The range on this is supposedly 100 meters. We're going to find that out here today, whether it can get 100 meters or not. You can control the camera for recording by pressing this down for a long press to record and a quick press to take a picture. It can do flips. I am not going to do flips with it because it's a large quadcopter, and flipping large brush quadcopters almost guarantees it killing the motors eventually. So I am really, if ever, going to use that flip button. Not even for this review, sorry. It also has headless mode and one key return. You activate the headless mode by pushing down on the throttle button, and you activate the one key return by pushing down on the right pitch roll stick. You can select a different beginner, intermediate, and expert rate by pressing down on the throttle trim button, and you can shut off the lights to save battery power by pushing up on the light button. Future implementation, these are actually supposed to be workable in future versions to control your pitch and your camera's pitch and your camera's roll or yaw. So just like a real gimbal, except it's not. I don't think it'll be gyro stabilized, but we'll see. Who knows if they actually implement that. And also your 5.8 gigahertz receiver, and it's only one frequency as far as I know for this frequency, or for this receiver, and I don't know what that frequency is. I'm sorry, folks. Let's go into flight and demonstrate its flight characteristics. Now I'm going to point this camera slightly, or actually quite a bit upwards, because we have a wind today, and I'm going to need a lot of forward pitch today to fight that wind. And with that in mind, I want to be able to see the horizon, so that's why this camera is going to be pointed up. When I go into hover, though, you're probably going to see a lot of sky, but for the most part in forward flight, I'm hoping that you'll be able to see the horizon. So that's why it's pointed up, folks. Let me adjust that just right about there. Okay, now turning on the quadcopter and pointing it toward the direction of Owens Peak off in the distance. And turning on the transmitter. And binding it to the quadcopter, making sure I got a view I can see. Actually, I got a real nice view. And I'm turning on the camera too. Holding down the button. And I'm recording, and away we go. Oh, real quick, let's bring that in for a second. This is my first flight with this thing. First flight, I want to see what happens when you lose transmitter power. So turning off that camera, I want to make sure it doesn't fly away, folks, because we're going to go toward the end of the field here. Turning on the transmitter again. We're on slow and turning up the transmitter. 1001, 1002, it will drop. Okay. That's good to know. So that's not going to fly away. Okay, binding it again. And also I'm going to go to intermediate, actually expert, because of this wind. We got quite a bit of wind here. And recording again, and pointing that camera upward again, because apparently it dropped a bit. That's way too much upward. Right there, a little more. That's perfect. Let's go for a flight again. Trying to fly this FPV in this wind, it is hard. So I'm not going to fly FPV. I'm going to, there's too much wind right now. I just want to see, we're going to fly upwind. Where's the upwind point? Let's move over here. Let the wind blow back. And rotate as it's flying back. Reducing throttle too, it's a little bit high. Coming down. This is a big bird, folks. X8C size with 5.8 gigahertz FPV. And that's the range on the FPV. The FPV seems to be pretty good. It gets scratchy out there. I'm out about 80 meters, I'm guessing. Flying by myself here. Turning toward myself. Trying to go FPV again. But it flies in the wind, and a lot of you folks want to know if you can fly in the wind, and this one can. What is that up there? That's a big bird. I saw something up in the sky hovering. Trying to keep it in forward pitch. Let's go upwind and see where it's going to drop out. Right about there. Ooh. Oh. That was at about 60 meters, and I saw something come off. I'm going to go find out what that was. I hope it wasn't anything important. Well, folks, unfortunately, that did not like that. It went out of contact. We were only about 50, 60 meters out, and then it inverted. Went into inverted flight, and I couldn't level it out in time before hitting the ground, and appears to have damaged it significantly. I will try to repair it and see if I can get more flights out of this, but right now I got a cracked arm that I think I might be able to glue back together, and a broken prop and a bent prop, and I do have replacement props. How are the other two props? Other two props look like they're mendable or they're okay. And we'll try to fix this and see if we can continue flying it. It's Quadcopter 101, signing out. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here with another review of the RC leading 109F. I don't know if you saw my part 1 review of this, but I flew this quadcopter without prop guards, out of range, and unfortunately I lost contact with it, and it flipped upside down, and it came down hard. I really did not have a chance to correct its drop, particularly without these prop guards on, because it dropped very rapidly. With that in mind, I did bang this up pretty bad. I broke this prop, and I bent up this prop, and unfortunately both of these are clockwise spinning props, and you only get two spare props for this quadcopter, one clockwise and one counterclockwise. So I was able to fix this prop, replace this prop, but this prop here I had to bend back in shape by running it under hot water. You can do that pretty much to these plastics. If you bang up a quadcopter and bend it up pretty badly, if you run the part under hot water, it softens it up and allows you to reshape it back into shape. And this seems to be fixed right now. I also did break up two of the arms in that crash. I don't know if you can see this, but it was nothing that some glue contact cement couldn't correct. It's back into shape again, and it seems to be able to fly right now. So I'd like to continue with my review of this particular quadcopter, repaired quadcopter. Instead of flying over at the flying field, Satellite Lake flying field, we're out here in the desert. Particularly, I want to show the ability of this camera that comes with this to record. Again, the camera that comes with this is a 720p 2 megapixel camera that can be tilted up and down. There is plans for a new version of this that has servos that can move the camera up and down, and also right and left is what I understand. And also there's another version of this that includes altitude hold to help with FPV flying. This one does not have either of those features. It's a basic camera quadcopter with FPV though. It has an FPV transmitter, and this is the 5.8 gigahertz FPV receiver that comes with it. Predicted range of this is out to 100 meters. My initial flight with this, I get about 80 meters actually with it. So I'm going to try to keep it in within 80 meters of my position. I don't want it to drop from the sky again like it did in my first video. To activate recording the camera, again, let's go over the transmitter real quick. Hold it down for 2 seconds. That starts the video. A quick press activates the photo button, and if you hold it down again for 2 seconds, that shuts off the video. It does have headless mode, which you activate by pressing this stick here, and it does have one key return, which you activate by pressing the right stick. You can change the rates of the quadcopter by pushing down on the throttle trim button from beginner, intermediate to expert, and you can turn off the lights to save battery power on the quadcopter by pushing up on the throttle trim button. So let's go for a flight of the RC leading 109F, and hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, I have the quadcopter turned on. I am turning on the transmitter, and let's verify that we actually got picture, and I do have picture. I am binding the transmitter. It's bound to the quadcopter. I'm activating the video camera, recording. Now, there goes the recorder. I'm setting the timer for 5 minutes. We're going to keep it at a 5-minute flight since this is still an early flight of this quadcopter. I don't want to fly too long with new motors. Starting the timer. Let's go for a flight of the RC leading 109F. Hope you enjoy this flight. Good picture on the FPV screen. Big quadcopter, ain't it? Let's turn it back toward us here. It'll just fly by us. That is one big quadcopter. Oh, there I am. You can actually fly at FPV. It's a cool FPV flyer, but it is a monstrous quadcopter. Let's bring it by and show you that. Oh, I accidentally hit the flip button. Going to higher rate. We got a wind coming. Okay, I'm in medium, intermediate rate. It is a stable flyer, as you can see here, but it is such a monster quadcopter. Huge. Okay, let's go to expert rate. Fly upwind. So we'll use the wind to bring it back down toward us. Flying it by in FPV. Well, it is relatively easy to fly this thing FPV because it is a stable flyer. And with that camera being able to point it upward like that, that makes FPV flying much easier than like the CMX. There's a CMX 5C clone with FPV that they got the camera pointed at the ground. You know, what's the idea of that? I don't know. I don't know what the idea is. Why would they do something like that? Okay, I just keep flying it upwind and down. Let's take it up high once and show a view of the area. Climbing, climbing, climbing. Okay, and rotating. Rotating around the area. Trying to fight this wind we got here today. I really shouldn't have came back out here with all this wind. But you can see there, you know, I'm up there about 80 meters. This is a big quadcopter. It's kind of hard to judge its distance, but I'm guessing about 80 meters. And there was some little bit of interference. You've seen the interference on the camera. That wind is picking up and I'm fighting it with these prop guards on. Again, I am in high rate right now, so I'm bringing it lower. Okay, going upwind into the gully, over the gully, and then I'm going to turn, had a little bit of a drop out there. This is the wind bringing it back by me. Hell of a wind. I was going to fly others today, but this wind is picking up, folks. It's still recording though. Going back upwind again. Yeah, the prop guard's very important to keep them on there. Mainly it makes the quadcopter stable when that motor does, if that motor will kick out. This thing will flip. And it has flipped on me. As you saw in part 1 of this video. Let's fly it overhead here. It's an FPV flyer. It's a good FPV flyer. But again, with these prop guards, let me see. Let me go to higher rate or intermediate, beginner. That's expert. Even an expert with the prop guards on, it's having a little bit of a time here fighting this wind. Wind's about 10 miles per hour, 5 to 10, somewhere in there. Going back up again, upwind. Waiting for my timer to go off, but oh, did I even start that timer? I don't remember. Flying over the desert, folks, with the big 109F. The monster 109F. But again, you know, you need the prop guards to fly. There's 5 minutes. You need the prop guards to fly this thing, and with the prop guards, okay, I'm landing it. With the prop guards, it has somewhat of a hard time fighting the wind. So this is a low wind flyer. Let me turn off the video, make sure I get that video. Holding down the button. Okay. So, in effect, I'll keep recording here so you can see. There I am. Overall, it is a good flyer, but it is a slow, docile flyer, similar to, let me hold it up better so you can see it better, and turn it off at the same time. But it's similar in flight to the SEMA X8C. You know, it's not a high wind flyer, so you know this is an alternative to the SEMA X8C, but with the addition of 5.8 gigahertz FPV. So that's the difference between this and the X5C, in that you can see what you're doing, what you're flying. So again, 109F, big heavy flyer. Make sure you have prop guards on when you fly it. But other than that, you know, it is a good FPV flyer. It's very docile and lends itself well to flying FPV in low wind conditions. So I hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101 signing out.